March 28th. Dr. Strauss came to my room tonight to see why I didn't come in like I was supposed to. I told him I don't like to race with Algernon anymore. He said I don't have to for a while, but I should come in. He had a present for me, only it wasn't a present, but just for Lend. I thought it was a little television, but it wasn't. He said I got to turn it on when I go to sleep. I said, "You're kidding. Why should I turn it on when I'm going to sleep? Who ever heard of a thing like that?" But he said if I want to get smart, I got to do what he says. I told him I didn't think I was going to get smart, and he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Charlie, you don't know it yet, but you're getting smarter all the time. You won't notice for a while." I think he was just being nice to make me feel good because I don't look any smarter. Oh, yes, I almost forgot. I asked him when I can go back to the class at Miss Kinnian's school. He said I won't go there. He said that soon Miss Kinnian will come to the hospital to start and teach me special. Special. I was mad at her for not coming to see me when I got the operation, but I like her, so maybe we will be friends again. March 29th. That crazy TV kept me up all night. How can I sleep with something yelling crazy things all night in my ears? As the nutty pictures, wow, I don't know what it says when I'm up, so how am I going to know when I'm sleeping? Dr. Strauss says it's okay. He says my brains are learning when I sleep, and that will help me when Miss Kinnean starts my lessons in the hospital. Only I found out it isn't a hospital, it's a laboratory. I think it's all crazy. If you can get smart when you're sleeping, why do people go to school? That thing I don't think will work. I used to watch The Late Show and The Late Late Show on TV all the time, and it never made me smart. Maybe you have to sleep while you watch it. Progress Report 9, April 3rd. Dr. Strauss showed me how to keep the TV turned low so now I can sleep. I don't hear a thing, and I still don't understand what it says. A few times I play it over in the morning to find out what I learned when I was sleeping, and I don't think so. Miss Kinnian says maybe it's another language or something, but most times it sounds American. It talks so fast, faster than even Miss Gold, who was my teacher in sixth grade, and I remember she talked so fast I couldn't understand her. I told Dr. Strauss what good it is to get smart in my sleep. I want to be smart when I'm awake. He says it's the same thing, and I have two minds. There's a subconscious and a conscience. That's how you spell it. And one don't tell the other one what it's doing. They don't even talk to each other. That's why I dream. And boy, have I been having crazy dreams. Wow. Ever since that night TV, the late, 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 late show. I forgot to ask him if it was only me or if everybody had those two minds. I just looked up a word in the dictionary Dr. Strauss gave me. The word is subconscious. It's an adjective of the nature of mental operations yet not present in consciousness, as subconscious conflict of desires. There's more, but I still don't know what it means. This isn't a very good dictionary for dumb people like me. Anyway, the headache is from the party. My friends from the factory, Joe Carp and Frank Riley, invited me to go with them to Muggsy's saloon for some drinks. I don't like to drink, but they said we'll have lots of fun. I had a good time. Joe Carp said I should show the girls how I mop out the toilet in the factory, and he got me a mop. I showed them, and everyone laughed when I told them Mr. Donegan said I was the best janitor he ever had because I like my job and I do it good and never come late or miss a day except for my operation. I said, Miss Kinnian always said, Charlie, be proud of your job because you do it good. Everybody laughed and we had a good time, and they gave me lots of drinks. And Joe said Charlie is a card when he's potted. I don't know what that means, but everybody likes me and we have fun. I can't wait to be smart like my best friends, Joe Carp and Frank Riley. I don't remember how the party was over, but I think I went out to buy a newspaper and coffee for Joe and Frank. When I came back, there was no one there. I looked for them all over till late. Then I don't remember so good, but I think I got sleepy or sick. A nice cop brought me back home. That's what my landlady, Mrs. Flynn, says. But I got a headache and a big lump on my head and black and blue all over. I think maybe I fell, but Joe Carp says it was the cop. They beat up drunks sometimes. I don't think so. Miss Kinnian says cops are to help people. Anyway, I got a bad headache and I'm sick and hurt all over. I don't think I'll drink anymore. April 6th. I beat Algernon. I didn't even know I beat him until Bert the tester told me. Then the second time I lost because I got so excited I fell off the chair before I finished. But after that I beat him 8 more times. I must be getting smart to beat a smart mouse like Algernon. But I don't feel smarter. I wanted to race Algernon some more, but Bert said that's enough for one day. They let me hold him for a minute. He's not so bad. He's soft like a ball of cotton. He blinks, and when he opens his eyes, they're black and pink on the edges. I said, "Can I feed him? Because I feel bad to beat him, and I wanted to be nice and make friends." Bert said no, Algernon is a very special mouse with an operation like mine, and he was the first of all the animals to stay smart so long. He told me Algernon is so smart that every day he has to solve a test to get his food. It's a thing, like a lock on a door that changes every time Algernon goes in to eat, so he has to learn something new to get his food. That made me sad, because if he couldn't learn, he would be hungry. I don't think it's right to make you pass a test to eat. How would Dr. Niemer like it to have to pass a test every time he wants to eat? I think I'll be friends with Algernon. April 9th. Tonight after work, Miss Kinnian was at the laboratory. She looked like she was glad to see me, but scared. I told her, "Don't worry, Miss Kinnian. I'm not smart yet." And she laughed. She said, "I have confidence in you, Charlie, the way you struggled so hard to read and write better than all the others. At worst, you will have it for a little while, and you're doing something for science." We are reading a very hard book. I never read such a hard book before. It's called Robinson Crusoe, about a man who gets marooned on a desert island. He's smart and figures out all kinds of things so he can have a house and food, and he's a good swimmer. Only I feel sorry because he's all alone. He has no friends. But I think they must be somebody else on the island because there's a picture with this funny umbrella looking at footprints. I hope he gets a friend and not be lonely. April 10th. Miss Kinnian teaches me to spell better. She says, look at a word and close your eyes and say it over and over until you remember. I have lots of trouble with through, that you say through and enough, and tough, that you don't say inu and tew. I got to say enough and tough. That's how I used to write it before I started to get smart. I'm confused. Miss Kinnian says there's no reason in spelling. April 14th. Finish Robinson Crusoe. I want to find out more about what happens to him, but Miss Kinnian says that's all there is. Why? April 15th. Miss Kinnian says I'm learning fast. She read some of the progress reports and she looked at me kind of funny. She says I'm a fine person and I'll show them all. I'll ask her why. She said never mind, but I shouldn't feel bad if I find out that everybody isn't nice like I think. She said for a person who God gave so little to you done more than a lot of people with brains they never even used. I said all my friends are smart people, but they're good. They like me and they never did anything that wasn't nice. Then she got something in her eye and she had to run out to the ladies' room. April 16th. Today I learned the comma. This is a comma, a period with a tail. Miss Kinnian says it's important because it makes writing better, she said. Somebody could lose a lot of money if a comma isn't in the right place. I don't have any money and I don't see how a comma keeps you from losing it. But she says everybody uses commas, so I'll use them too. April 17th. I used the comma wrong. It's punctuation. Miss Kinnian told me to look up long words in a dictionary to learn to spell them. I said, what's the difference if you can read it anyway? She said it's part of your education, so now I'll look up all the words I'm not sure how to spell. It takes a long time to write that way, but I think I'm remembering. I only have to look up once, and after that I get it right. Anyway, that's how come I got the word punctuation right. It's that way in the dictionary. Miss Kinnian says a period is punctuation too, and there are lots of other marks to learn. I told her I thought all periods had to have tails, but she said no. You got to mix them up. She showed me how to mix them up, and now I can mix up all kinds of punctuation in my writing. There are lots of rules to learn, but I'm getting them in my head. One thing I like about dear Miss Kinnian, that's the way it goes in a business letter if I ever go into business, is she always gives me a reason when I ask. She's a genius. I wish I could be smart like her. Punctuation is fun. April 18th. What a dope I am. I didn't even understand what she was talking about. I read the grammar book last night and it explains the whole thing. Then I saw it was the same way as Miss Kinnian was trying to tell me, but I didn't get it. I got up in the middle of the night and the whole thing straightened out in my mind. Miss Kinnian said that the TV working in my sleep helped out. She said I reached a plateau. That's like the flat top of a hill. After I figured out how punctuation worked, I read over all my old progress reports in the beginning. Boy, did I have crazy spelling and punctuation. I told Miss Kinney I ought to go over the pages and fix all the mistakes, but she said, no, Charlie, Dr. Niemer wants them just as they are. That's why he let you keep them after they were photostated, to see your own progress. You're coming along fast, Charlie. That made me feel good. After the lesson, I went down and played with Algernon. We don't race anymore. April 20th. I feel sick inside. Not sick like for a doctor, but inside my chest it feels empty like getting punched and a heartburn at the same time. I wasn't going to write about it, but I guess I got to because it's important. Today was the first time I ever stayed home from work. Last night, Joe Carp and Frank Riley invited me to a party. There were lots of girls and some men from the factory. I remembered how sick I got last time I drank too much, so I told Joe I didn't want anything to drink. He gave me a plain Coke instead. It tasted funny, but I thought it was just a bad taste in my mouth. We had a lot of fun for a while. Joe said I should dance with Ellen and she would teach me the steps. I fell a few times and I couldn't understand why because no one else was dancing besides Ellen and me. And all the time I was tripping because somebody's foot was always sticking out. Then when I got up, I saw the look on Joe's face and it gave me a funny feeling in my stomach. "He's a scream," one of the girls said. Everybody was laughing. Frank said, "I ain't laughed so much since we sent him off for the newspaper that night at Muggsy's and ditched him. Look at him. His face is red. He's blushing. Charlie is blushing. Hey, Ellen, what'd you do to Charlie? I never saw him act like that before." I didn't know what to do or where to turn. Everyone was looking at me and laughing, and I felt naked. I wanted to hide myself. I ran out into the street and I threw up. Then I walked home. It's a funny thing I never knew that Joe and Frank and all the others liked to have me around all the time to make fun of me. Now I know what it means when they say to pull a Charlie Gordon. I'm ashamed.